We're going to do another live resume review. This will be resume number 2. So let me get my resume shared with you. And let's go. All right. So today we have another resume. This one is in a pretty good format. This is pretty close to how the resumes that I produce look as far as kind of the flow. So this is very similar to what you would kind of want to have. We're going to clean this up a little bit. But this is a very similar to format. This is a pretty good format for a pilot resume. So if you're watching this and your resume doesn't look similar to this, you might want to readjust, or I do that on the side. So I can make you a pilot resume and a cover letter. So either way, let's get started. So this person has everything at the top. The only thing that I saw missing was a LinkedIn. And again, if you don't have a professional LinkedIn profile, would highly recommend that you set one up. You can upload your resume to LinkedIn. I don't know if you know that. I would put it like a de-identified, maybe name and email, but that is something. So identifying information up top, good. We got the full address. So this is what you want right here. I have all the good stuff right up top. All the things that I need to see if you're qualified, because if this stuff does not, if I can't determine if you're qualified here, then I'm not going to look down here at the second section if if I can't figure out if you're qualified. But let's look. I looked at this resume and I thought we could clean this up a bit and we could get more space. So certifications and ratings, good, right? These two categories should be right at the top. But to save space, what you could do is column this, like put this one and take the flight hours and put it over here. We're not really interested in when you got your certificate. And we can always see that on the date. Like if we were to hire you, it says on your certificate. So you don't really need to put your certificate dates in there. This would be better information to put down with your flight school information and the dates that you attended flight school. So you can get rid of this and you can combine this. Okay. I don't care if you have a private, that doesn't do anything for me, looking at you for a job. So I would combine this right here. And let me see, does this person, they do have a multi-engine. I'm not even seeing that on here really. So I would combine this to commercial, pilot, and then it would be like airplane, single engine, land, like just how it is. Oh, I see it here. Just like how it is on your license. So see, I was like, what is this? Oh, commercial pilot, single engine. Yeah, like I would rather see SEL, MEL, and then IA for instrument airplane, just like it is on your certificate. Okay. So combine that, get rid of these top two lines and just put it all right here. Commercial, single and multi, instrument, airplane, right? That's what I care about. I either need to know you have a commercial or an ATP and an instrument rating if you go commercial. I like this. So ground instructor, that's good. Definitely. If you have additional instructor ratings, like if you have AGI or you have like advanced ground instructor instrument, if you have those, add those. That shows a more expanded, well-rounded knowledge, right? So definitely add those on there. So this person they have a ground instructor instrument. That's what I was right. So that's good. So that tells me that this pilot's instrument knowledge should be probably, hopefully, a little more advanced than, say other people, because they have an additional ground instructor rating. So you got AGI and IGI. That's great. We've got the FCC permit, which is needed for a lot of jobs. And then look, commercial multis way down here. That's why I missed it. This should be up here. So combine them. Like I couldn't, I had to read all the way here to see that you had a multi-engine rating. That should have been at the top. Because if you don't have that, I don't care about the rest, right? So combine those. It was a little difficult for me to figure out if you had a multi-engine rating other than you had multi-time. And it needs to be prominent, right? Think about it. 10 seconds. I need to be able to look at this in 10 seconds and decide if I want to continue looking at this resume. And then again, aircraft breakdown, it's not really important unless the only time, I would put like an aircraft breakdown on here is maybe if you have time in the type of aircraft that you're applying for, then that would be something. But like, I don't care if you flew a 172. I don't care if you flew a Piper Archer, really, unless it's a more complex aircraft, like maybe the 401 and the Comanche. Maybe those. Again, it's going to depend on the job you're applying for. Unless you've flown an aircraft that company has, it's really not super relevant unless it's turbine time. So this can come off. Like I said in the previous video, if you're going for a flight instructor job, that may be something you just want to leave on here if you have time in the aircraft that flight school has. But really, other than that, this stuff here isn't relevant. It can go. So let's look at the flight hours. Do we have everything here we need? Total time, okay. PIC time, got that. See how this is? If you watched my first video, the hours were like kind of in sentence form, and it was very hard for me to break down and determine qualifications. I really like this column because I can go right down the line and it shows me 648 total PIC cross country. So let me say something. That's quite a lot of cross country for this total time. So right now, this is piquing my interest on this pilot because of the cross country time. That's unusual, but good, right? It's not a bad thing. And there's quite a bit of instrument time for 648 hours. So I'm intrigued. Of course, depending on what the hiring minimums are for the job that you're applying for, but for 648 hours, that's a lot of time. A lot of cross country and instrument time that you've gotten in. So great. Nighttime, it's okay, right? You're only at 648 hours. But what I would say, be conscious of when you're time building, right? And if you're trying to meet ATP minimums or 135 minimums or whatever it is you're looking at, what I tend to see that is kind of common is low time in cross country instrument and night, especially with CFIs, right? Because they have to really carefully manage their students to hit those categories, right? It's all going to depend on what kind of students you have. But really high there for the amount of hours. So that looks good. High performance, for CFI, maybe leave that on there, but I would clean that up and take that off once you apply for like an airline job. Turbine, I would just convert that to turbine time because that's really all they care about. If you're looking at an airline job, they don't care about turbine time is what they care about. Dual given, again, not important. It would be important for a flight instructor job. I would say leave that on there, if you're applying for a CFI job, because that shows how much experience you have. But if you're not applying for a CFI job, get rid of that. It's not useful information that we really care about. And then your multi-engine time, of course, that's important. And then, of course, if you have turbine time, I would add that, just swap this out. So far, so good. Like I said, this is a good format, but it can definitely be cleaned up and made to be more concise. But this is kind of the format that you want to have, something very similar to this. As you can see on this resume, there's no objective. You do not need an objective on a pilot resume. We know what your objective is, to be a pilot. That is not standard. So if you have an objective of here, get rid of it. It's clutter that I don't want to look at. I want to get right to the meat and potatoes of your qualifications. Okay. So we've looked at this and, okay, so we've determined, okay, this pilot is qualified. So let me learn a little bit more about them and decide if there's someone that I would like to interview. So how are they building their time? Okay. So then we look here, and this person is currently still building time. So I'm going to expect these numbers are going to be increasing. And they're a command pilot, which not really sure what that means. I'm going to guess that means a pilot in command. I've not seen command pilot, and then maybe that's a military terminology. I'm not sure, but should say either a pilot in command or first officer, because that's really going to tell me. But I'm going to assume it's a PIC because of you notice here total time and PIC time are very close. So that tells me this person doesn't have really SIC time. So this is PIC job and it's with Angel Flight. I like that. So that's a volunteer organization, and that's, highly recommend you have at least one of, something aviation that you've joined, some organization. So I like that. This pilot's building time with Angel Flight. So that's really good. So that's a positive. And then it looks like they are also a flight instructor. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. Because a flight instruction is an excellent way to build time. It teaches you so very much. So I'm liking these two things. They're CFI. I'm guessing they probably, I don't know what they fly for Angel Flight, but maybe they're getting some multi-time there. So good. So far, so good. Okay. And then looky here. So this is, this person is kind of, from what this is telling me, is a second career pilot, because it looks like they were in the medical field. In the medical field prior to this. And we see a lot of second career pilots. So there is probably some experience here that we can look at and ask about, as far as, how they've developed some soft skills. Because remember, if you're doing any type of interview for an airline, even though you're doing a first officer interview, they're really looking, the plan is they want you to become a captain at their airline. So in this interview, they're going to be looking for, the soft skills that hopefully they're like, oh, this person is going to develop into a great captain. They already have, this type of experience. They've managed things. They've managed people, because a captain is a manager. Okay. So, but there's one thing wrong here. This resume only goes back to 2020. Even if it's not pilot experience, we need to see a full 10-year job history. So this is probably going to be a 2-page resume, because that does need to be in here. Some airlines, if they get your resume like this, will kick it back and say, and this is in the onboarding, right? This wouldn't be for interview, but in an onboarding process, they may kick it back and say, you need to fix your resume to show a full 10-year work history, because they have paperwork they have to match that up with for your pilot record, et cetera, et cetera. So you need a full 10-year history. That is the standard. A full 10-year work and address history is going to be the standard for airline. And then also, because we want to see, right, what did this person do prior to aviation? There may be some good soft skills in there, and it says some things about them. And then what I would do here, in aviation, we're not really going to be super interested in all this medical stuff, and probably maybe not even understand some of it. So I would put 1 or 2 bullets of think about maybe some key things that you did there. What were you recognized for and things like that. What you really want to show in your non-aviation employment are anything that's going to display any other skill sets that you have. We want to see the full picture of the full well-rounded candidate. So you might want to change this. And then if you are going to add, the continued tenure history, shrink that down, right? One bullet item, if it's non-aviation, the farther back you go. The job title is probably going to tell us mostly what we need to know. One or two items here to keep your resume straight, and then start dropping it off, right? Your non-aviation employment, as years go by, start, drop that off. So for instance, if this person is going to be a CFI, and then at some point they're going to go to the airlines, redo the resume, drop some stuff off if you can, would be my recommendation. But you do need to have the full 10 years. So if that goes into 2 pages, that's okay. But 2 pages max on the resumes, guys. I've literally seen resumes 5 pages and more. So 2 pages maximum. And then, okay, so work history is here, education we have. But looky here. Where did this person, let's see, where did they go to flight school? I don't know. It's not on here. So that I would add that, right? You've got your degree here, which is great. I love to showcase the GPA because that's really great. Airlines do, like when they used to require a degree below a 2.5, they wouldn't hire you. So the higher the GPA, the better. That's great. These both look good. This person has 2, degrees, certificates. So this is great. It's a good look to have a degree. You don't have to have an aviation degree. This suffices. But add your flight school down here. And then one more category that I would add, again, would be like organization affiliations or volunteer work, whatever it is, but join an aviation organization and put it on there. And that would go right under education, make another line and a section just like that, and then put that in there. It's a good look to be involved with your aviation community. So I highly recommend that. So that's all for this resume review today. Hopefully this gives you some tips on how to make your resume better. And I will be doing more of these. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.